Kids growing up too fast? Puberty hitting hard? Now there's Flintstones chewable hormone blockers. The fun, fruity way to put puberty on pause.
That's right, Bonnie boy. Flintstones chewables taste just like candy. Grape, orange, cherry, one a day, and poof! No more pesky growing up stuff.
Yeah, Fred. Just pop them like vitamins.
Exactly. Why wait for some fancy appointment when you can order right from your cave computer?
Flintstones chewable hormone blockers. America's favorite way to hit the brakes on growing up today.
Not FDA approved for kids. May cause bone density issues, fertility problems, and other permanent changes. Flintstones chewable hormone blockers. 10 million strong and stalling.
Order now before your kid changes their mind. Again.
Yes, welcome to Mark Moseley's show, Flintstones Chewable Hormone Blockers, because the Daily Caller published an exclusive story on March 10th titled something along the lines of online pharmacies may be allowing minors to get transgender hormones with alarming ease. Hey, don't forget to follow me on social media at Mark Moseley, Moseley, except for X, where I've lost my X account and no longer care. But follow me on Instagram, Facebook. Don't forget to follow me on YouTube as well to watch this show. The show's also on Rumble, but don't bother looking for it because you can't find it on Rumble. Thanks a lot, Rumble. I really had high hopes for you, but you let me down. It's like a bad relationship that just crashes after the first date. Actually, in the middle of the first date. Anyway, the story from the Daily Caller, the article reports on a new investigation and report from the organization Do No Harm, which claims that certain online pharmacies, including some foreign-based ones, that's problematic, appear to sell cross-sex hormones, such as those used in transgender hormone replacement therapy, without requiring a valid prescription or even verifying the buyer's age. Now, this opens the door to potentially allowing minors to purchase these potent medications with minimal barriers, often just a few clicks online. Do No Harm's report examined online sources and found lax or non-existent age and prescription checks for these drugs. It also highlighted online resources, guides, and websites that promote or list such pharmacies, home-brewed hormone options, wow, that's even crazier, and instructions for self-administration, including specific advice targeted at transgender minors seeking hormone blockers or hormones. Do No Harm's chief medical officer stated that this setup enables minors to obtain cross-sex hormones with alarming ease and emphasized that kids should not be able to buy these things so easily. The piece frames it as a serious concern for child safety and calls attention to the unregulated nature of some of these sources. Now, the story does not go so far as to claim definitive proof that children are widely doing so, but it does highlight the apparent ease and lack of safeguards based on Do No Harm's analysis. Well, breaking news now as we just started the taping of this show. Breaking news. I'm Ron Burgundy. The House passes a bill to deport non-citizens who commit fraud. The U.S. House of Representatives has passed the Deporting Fraudsters Act, aimed at strengthening consequences for non-citizens who defraud government programs. Now don't get there, don't get ahead of me, but can you guess what the vote was? Bet you can. It applies to fraud involving Social Security, welfare programs, and other federal benefits. It includes identity fraud, which is very important and very widespread out there. How many of you have lost your Social Security number to somebody that doesn't even belong in the country? And conspiracy to defraud the government. It would make offenders both deportable and then inadmissible in the future. You couldn't come back in later. It was passed with Republican support and unified Democratic opposition. Who could have guessed that? The vote was 231 for and 186 against. Now, come on. This is an if we can't deport illegal aliens that are defrauding the government stealing our taxpayer dollars. No, 186 Democrats voted against this in the House. Supporters argue the bill is about protecting taxpayer dollars and enforcing accountability. Critics argue it could go too far in how broadly it defines fraud-related offensive. Okay, isn't fraud just fraud? I mean, I know. Oh my gosh. I know the left is all about raising the bar about what is and isn't a crime. You know, here in the state of California, we always talk about this. You can walk out of a Walmart pushing a shopping cart with 3 55-inch flat screen TVs in it, and that's a misdemeanor. As long as you don't go for the fourth, as long as you don't go over $900, 4 TVs is a felony, 3, no big deal. See you later. This bill now moves to the Senate, but it's just one more absolutely glaring example of how either off the rails the worldview of the left is, or, depending on how you want to look at it, another example of just how married to the mob the left is, that they cannot vote to kick out illegal immigrants that commit fraud with our tax dollars. And it bookends nicely with this story. The headline, a fraudster stripped of U.S. citizenship after stealing millions. That's more than 3 Walmart flat screen 55-inch TVs. Millions. A naturalized U.S. citizen has officially had his citizenship revoked after being convicted in a large-scale COVID relief fraud scheme. This guy's name is Joff Sten Roy Philissant, secured approximately $3.8 million in fraudulent PPP loans while his citizenship application was still pending. Yeah, you should never do more than one illegal thing at once, you know? And then allegedly took steps to conceal that activity during the naturalization process. He submitted dozens of fraudulent loan applications tied to fake or manipulated businesses. He lied under oath during his naturalization interview, denying any criminal conduct. He was later convicted of wire fraud and money laundering conspiracies, and a federal judge has now revoked his citizenship, opening the door to possible deportation. Possible. But I'm sure some federal judge somewhere will step up and go, no, come on. He's just a poor Maryland father. The case is significant because it shows the government is willing to go back and undo citizenship when it was obtained through fraud, especially when that fraud involves taxpayer-funded programs. Well, we'll see if that bill looking to deport illegals committed of who have been found guilty of committing fraud. We'll see if that even gets to a vote in the Senate. What is up with the Senate? We are still waiting to see if they can pass the SAVE Act. I'm telling you, the Senate could not pass a bill right now putting Rosa Parks' face on the side of DC buses. The Senate could not pass because the Democrats would insist that Republicans wanting to put Rosa Parks' face on the side of DC buses was somehow secretly demeaning to Rosa Parks. And Republicans would be worried that the media would accuse them of some racist dog whistling. That's how insane it is. The SAVE Act, also known as Jim Crow 2.0, it's the Jim Crow law that 75% of Black Americans are saying, just give it to me. Yes, put that Jim Crow 2.0 right on me. Maybe it's just me, but I mean, looking at, I don't think many Democrat Black people who leaned hard left mind separate but equal facilities for Black and white people in public spaces. Because, in fact, you know, radical left Black thought leaders in recent years seem to have been demanding that Black people have their own safe spaces separate from white people. Or is it just me that remembers this from recent years? So, I don't know, is Jim Crow 2.0 really the smart marketing for this?
Voter suppression. That is what the Republican Senate is wasting our time on. Pushing a voter suppression bill that most Americans do not support. A bill that appeals to only the most fringe element of the MAGA base.
Take a look here. Favorite photo ID to vote. 85% of white people favor it. 82% of Latino. 76% of black Americans favor it. So the bottom line is this. Voter ID is not controversial in this country. A photo ID to vote is not controversial in this country. It is not controversial by party, and it is not controversial by race. The vast majority of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj that, in fact, you should have a photo ID to be able to vote.
Only the most fringe element of the MAGA base.
Oh, Chuck. Chuck, Chuck, you just keep recycling the same tired arguments, the same tired scare tactics. Maybe it's time to retire, bro. Just cash in. You've probably made many tens of millions of filthy, dirty K Street cash being a senator. Maybe it's just time to go on back to New York and hang it up.
Just go home. That's your home. Are you too good for your home?
Welcome back to Mark Moseley Show. So much for the haters on social media taking jabs at the Melania documentary when it was in theaters. The knock being that she was not liked. She was not compelling. She's not even interesting. Because now, day one on Amazon, the Melania doc hit #1 on the movie chart, #2 overall. Second only to Young Sherlock, which, by the way, is really good. I am thoroughly enjoying. Being a Sherlock Holmes fanatic, I will watch anything Sherlock Holmes. But yeah, she went to #2 overall when the movie debuted, #1 on the movie chart. And Trump's got to be happy that his smoking hot wife clearly is a compelling and relevant person in America. The film, directed by Brett Ratner, who used to hit on my wife back in the day when they were in the same class together at Miami Beach High. He directed it and did a fine job, and it's a great film. It really is quite compelling, but I think they should have skipped the documentary and just made an action movie.
In a world where elegance meets terror, one woman stands alone against the chaos of power, politics, and Prada. Jason Statham is Melania Trump in FLOTUS. Also starring Donald Trump as himself, because no one plays Donald Trump like Donald Trump. Oh no, Melania, an Iranian hit squad is out to get me, and the Dems have defunded my Secret Service team. There's only one person I can trust, and that's you. Settle down, Donald. I'm not just another pretty face. I'm Mara Lethal. She came to America with elegance. She conquered the world of fashion. But what no one knows is that before the White House, she trained with the most elite operatives on Earth. I said be best. You failed. When a shadowy conspiracy threatens Washington, the wrong people make the wrong mistake. They underestimate Melania. Darling, you just crashed the wrong inauguration. She's not just decorating the White House, she's defending it. Jason Statham is Melania Trump in FLOTUS. Fierce Lady Operative, terminating unruly scum. Coming soon.
Well, this week in media bias, check out this little bit of media bias from a website called Indy100.com. The headline, J.D. Vance slammed for gloating that others are suffering from Iran war more than America. Gloating. He's gloating. Listen, watch him gloat here. Watch him gloat.
Is that we actually worked with a lot of our allies all over the world who are suffering from this, frankly, more than we are, because unlike the United States, where we've pursued an energy dominance agenda, you've got a lot of people all over the world who have focused on a lot of green energy scams, and they're hurting a lot more than we are. So as much as we got to focus on getting these gas prices down, the reality is overseas they're feeling it far worse than we did, because we've taken the steps to protect our energy economy. So for example, what we did working with these allies, is we released hundreds of millions of barrels out of all these petroleum reserves so that we could put some downward pressure on prices. We're working on a number of things. In fact, a couple of things that I think will be announced in just the next 24 to 48 hours. I don't want to get ahead of the president on that, but we recognize this is an issue. We are fighting against it, and we promise that when this conflict draws to a close, when this operation draws to a close, we're going to see those energy prices come back down to reality, because that's what the president promised to do.
The story says in Indy100.com, J.D. Vance made the suggestion Americans should be happy. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He didn't say we should be happy, because other countries have it worse in relation to oil prices, but people are far from pleased. Since the U.S. and Israel launched themselves into a war with Iran, oil prices have soared amid ongoing escalation that has seen major energy infrastructure across the Middle East destroyed. Additionally, part of Iran's retaliation has been blocking the Strait of Hormuz, one of the busiest oil shipping channels in the world. Consumers across the globe are currently feeling the effects as gas prices continue to surge while the war wages on. In what is being seen as a bizarre attempt to quell the anxieties of Americans who are seeing gas prices constantly rise, Vance suggested they shouldn't feel too bad about how they have it because others are suffering more than they are. No, he didn't say that. No. Then an ex-user embedded in the story on Indy100.com took it to the next level by saying, quote, Vance says Americans should find comfort in the fact that our allies are suffering more than we are. No, he didn't. No, he absolutely did not say that. Americans should find comfort. You said he said that. And then people comment on what she said that he said. She said he said that he didn't say. Some of the comments. No decent human being finds comfort in this. What a horrifyingly repulsive individual. Again, taking what this person said he said that he didn't say and commenting on that instead of what he actually said. Another comment, the state of America, they find comfort in other people's suffering. No, he doesn't. Another comment, when was it ever Christian to take any comfort in others' suffering? Oh, I see we're playing the Jesus card. Pretty sure my Sunday school teacher said we should help those who are suffering. Yeah, that was the last time you went to church, when you had a Sunday school teacher. He didn't say any of this. Oy. And social media couldn't help themselves on this other one, to the point that Snopes had to step in. It was the Trump six-year-old girl fiasco. Amid renewed scrutiny over U.S. President Donald Trump's ties to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, a rumor spread online that Trump said, quote, your daughter, she has to be of age, like above 6 years old. One post on X shared that quote with a purported video of Trump. Well, here's what Trump said.
Like voter ID, but, it can be given to you by your daughter. Your daughter, she has to be of age, like above 6 years old, she's allowed to say. You had to see some of this stuff is so bad.
But social media users took that and they perverted it into something. The quote is correctly attributed to Trump, but it requires the context. Trump made the comments during a March 9th speech at the Republican Members' Issues Conference in Doral, Florida, while talking about measures he hoped would become law to limit supposed voter fraud. Here's what Snopes says. As of the writing, the intent behind Trump's comments and what prompted his reference to daughters being of age at above 6 years old remained unclear. We reached out to the White House seeking clarification and will update this report should they respond. Well, there's no need to respond because the left tried to pervert it into something sexual. This is Snopes now debunking the narrative. But the leftists on social media, they never miss a chance to make something sick by taking it out of context. They could not help themselves to try to perv this into some kind of sexual thing, like Trump is saying, like Trump is looking to have sex with your 6-year-old daughter. Is there any evidence anywhere in the Epstein files that Trump likes them that young? I mean, it's really sick, but here we go. Any chance to take a swipe at Trump, no matter how much you have to debase yourself in doing so. What's that? Oh, hold on a second. I'm being told now by the folks in the booth that there is evidence that the president likes them that young. We have a video of the president being creepy with young people. Okay, roll that. Oh, no, hang on now. No, wait a minute. Nah, I see what you guys did. You trolled me. That's not Trump. That's a compilation of videos of a different guy. Okay. All right, that's enough. Nope. Just stop it. I don't want to, okay. And it's still going. Okay, that's enough of that. Can you cut it? Just cut it. Cut it. Thank you. You know, it occurred to me that the left is obsessed with Trump possibly being some kind of weirdo pervert while being the same party that fights tooth and nail for drag queen story hour and having men walking around naked in front of women and girls at the gym locker room. If Trump came out tomorrow and said, you know what? I'm going to put on a dress and some makeup and go on down to the library and read a book to some cute little kids, what would the left do? They wouldn't be able to cope. Liberals all over the country would have to call in sick for like a week to try to sort out that conundrum that Trump just laid on them. They would be the two buttons meme. We're going to put on a dress and some rouge and some lipstick, and I will be Trump in drag reading a book to the children. But you know what? Since the left brought up the subject of child rape, thank you for opening up the show for me to feature this video, congressional testimony that caught my attention recently, and I wanted to bring it to you. This is J.J. Carell, retired Deputy Patrol Agent in charge of U.S. Border Patrol, going on record, and I'm just going to let this roll.
I state without reservation that the United States federal government is the world's largest child sex trafficking organization in modern history. The probability that thousands of these UACs are being raped at this very moment is 100%. Chairman Higgins, Ranking Member Correa, Chairman Bishop, Ranking Member Ivey, and the members of the subcommittee, I appreciate the opportunity to speak about the evil of child trafficking caused by the open border policies under President Joe Biden and his administration. I served in the United States Border Patrol for 24 years until I retired as a Deputy Patrol Agent in charge in San Diego sector. I worked under 5 presidential administrations, and only one president secured the border, President Donald Trump. Border Patrol agents went from working and being supported by the greatest border president in American history to the worst, President Joe Biden. My last year in the Border Patrol was Joe Biden's first year in office. On his first day in office, I watched in disbelief as 94 executive orders cascaded down from Washington, D.C., obliterating every immigration policy that had been provided the most secure border in America's history. Border Patrol agents were forced to carry out unconstitutional orders that violated every law in the Immigration Nationality Act. President Biden, through Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, created policy out of thin air, ignored federal immigration law, and facilitated the largest mass invasion into America that the world has ever seen. The United States of America will have spent hundreds of billions of dollars in 4 years to fund the needs of over 50 million illegal aliens that populate our nation. Between 1 in 6 and 1 in 7 residents in America is an illegal alien. America has suffered the greatest demographic shift in modern history. After serving in the United States Border Patrol for 24 years, spending a year researching and writing a best-selling book entitled Invaded, The Intentional Destruction of the American Immigration System, and filming 2 documentaries, I state with complete certainty that Biden, Harris, and Mayorkas intentionally, strategically, and purposely weaponized illegal immigration and used it as a tool to fundamentally transform America. Inside this invasion, the unspoken evil of child trafficking, and more specifically, child sex trafficking, has flourished. At the end of this current administration, the number of children trafficked will have grown to over 550,000 unaccompanied alien children known as UACs. This horrific number of children will have been arrested, released into America, and then lost. To put this into context, during President Trump's last year in office, Customs and Border Protection arrested 30,557 UACs who were accounted for and not lost. Conversely, in the first year of Biden's presidency, CBP arrested 147,975 UACs, most of which are unaccompanied for and lost. In 2023, Congressional Hearings, Health and Human Services, Javier Becerra, and Director of Office of Refugee Resettlement, Robin Marcos, forced to admit that their agency had no contact with over 85,000 UACs. They were lost. What did DHS, HHS, and ORR do to correct this humanitarian disaster? Nothing. In fact, all three agencies created further policies and procedures to increase the efficiency of moving UACs from the border to the interior of the United States to unknown and unvetted sponsors. Unaccompanied alien children were being handed off to total strangers. Then they disappeared into the darkness of labor and sex trafficking. In fact, a year later, in August of 2024, the Inspector General, with oversight over DHS, issued a report stating the number lost UACs was not 85,000, it was over 320,000. My business partner, Ryan Matta, and I spent 6 months traveling across America, filming a documentary titled, What is Treason Trafficked? The evil of child sex trafficking is difficult to digest and understand. However, after conducting numerous interviews with officers, agents, and whistleblowers from every alphabet agency and department, it was made clear to us that the federal government knowingly and actively facilitated these criminal acts.
There you go. And for context, for all you I got a problem with ICE folks out there, it's not ICE. Stop lying. We talked about this recently on the show. No, the problem is your widespread, pervasive, bizarre, very disturbing disdain for and disrespect for law enforcement of any kind. As I said weeks ago on this very program, aren't you the same people who call the police Nazis? Aren't you the same folks that don't think we should have any law and order in this country? No rules. Everybody just does whatever they want. Here are some videos. Here's some examples of just how much it's only ICE, right? It's only ICE we object to.
Ma'am, I've provided you multiple requests for your license, registration, and insurance. Okay, step on out of the car. Do it now.
She doesn't. I do not have to.
I will break this window.
I have to show that. If you break that window, you will be charged with treason.
Step on out of the car.
Charged with treason if you break my window.
Step on out of the car.
This is so illegal. I would not do that.
You can contest that in court, ma'am. You're under arrest for obstruction at this point.
Court. It won't make it to court.
Yes, it is.
No, it won't make it to court. It won't make it to court. You guys, I assure you, you don't want to do this. I'm with the federal coastal courts, okay? I am serving the judicial notice and global constitution to the world, and this is not correct. This is not what
you're being recorded, ma'am. Everything's being recorded. All your statements are being recorded. Okay? You have an option to step on out of the car.
He's recorded. And if he threatens to bust the window again, that's treason.
That's treason. Step on out of the car.
Is this your
Are you going to step out of the car?
Supervisor.
Ma'am, are you stepping out of the car?
Which one is the supervisor, sir?
Are you going to step out of the car?
Supervisor. He's not here yet. Okay, then we'll wait for the supervisor. Do not you don't want to break my window, sir.
I will here in a second if you don't get out of the car.
If your supervisor gets here, he will let you know you cannot break my window.
Oh, I doubt that.
You're being recorded and you can face treason.
Yes, you are being recorded.
Everything's being recorded.
Yes, we know.
Yeah.
We know. We highly know this.
6 David 1 ETA.
Creating necromancy and trying to put me in jail.
Well, you are going to jail.
I do not.
You're under arrest at this point, ma'am.
I'm a free woman. I'm not a cop. I'm not a corporation. You can't contract with me. I am a free woman, a blood, flesh, breathing woman. I don't.
Okay, I'm not disputing that, but you are under arrest.
Also, here's another one.
So I'm just having a hard time understanding how when somebody honks at you, that you jump out of the car.
It's called explosive disorder, and I can't help it.
Okay, should you be driving a car then if you can't?
Why do you think I'm here? Trying to go inside.
Get out and put your hands behind your back.
No.
Yes.
No, you're not doing this, officer. Oh. Now, look at
Get out, put your hands behind your back.
Are you kidding me, sir? You can't do this.
I don't trust your behavior right now. Get out and put your hands behind your back. No, you're not.
Help me! Help me! My roommate's here.
450. Emma, can you start me another unit?
Look.
Turn around, put your hands behind your back.
I have nothing on me.
Turn around, put your hands behind your back.
Turn around and put your hands behind your back. idiot.
Put your hands behind your back.
Piece of
Get your hands behind your back.
I'm not doing anything.
Get your hands behind your back. Get your hands behind your back.
What the?
Put your hands behind your back. Get on your belly.
What is wrong with you?
Put your hands behind your back.
And one more.
I stopped you for speeding.
Before you begin this interaction, please be advised that I'm recording. I do not consent to this contact with you. Anything you say can and will be used against you in court of law. Any statement or alleged consent I give in response to your questioning is hereby under protest or under duress. I invoke and refuse to waive my Fifth Amendment right, and I will not be answering any questions today. Why am I being detained?
Driver's license and proof of insurance, please.
Why am I being detained?
I stopped you for speeding.
Okay.
You're doing 59 and a 35 as you're going past the golf course. Can I see your driver's license and proof of insurance, please?
What's your name and badge number?
Can I see your driver's license and proof of insurance?
I'll be with you shortly.
But then, you see, here's the deal. You're not in control of this, sir.
Did you pull me over or did I pull you over?
You're not in control of this interaction,
Did
sir.
I pull you over?
Can I see your driver's license and proof of insurance?
Okay, could you just chill for a second? I'm trying to do my job.
No, that's where you're wrong.
Is your body cam on, sir?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, okay.
I'm trying to do my job, sir.
MAGA? What police department you with? Elgin?
Elgin Police Department, sir. That's the city you're driving in. The city where you were stopped.
What's your patrol car? Your patrol car?
It's right there.
What number?
It's not relevant to the traffic stop, sir.
It's not? Okay. Not relevant? Okay.
It's not relevant to the traffic stop, so you can see it's a marked squad and the lights are on.
Can you articulate what ILCS I'm being suspected of?
You stopped for speeding, sir.
What's the ILCS number?
It'll be on your citation.
Okay. Where were you when you saw this?
Parked on the side of the roadway.
Which roadway?
The roadway you were driving on.
Which is what? Sir, I don't know. I don't get what the problem is. I'm just answering questions. We're just trying to get some information.
Your driver's license and your proof of insurance.
And we will get there. Are you? Why are you? What's the big deal? I mean, I'm just asking some questions here.
And I've answered your questions.
Okay. So what road did you?
All this information will be on your traffic citation.
What road? Before I present my license, which you will get shortly.
Bound to do because you're driving in the state of Illinois.
Yeah. Before I do that, I need some information from you.
Not necessarily.
Okay. Are you refusing to cooperate, sir?
Man, the passive aggression. Oh, the passive aggression on that last one. Please tell us again how it's just ICE under Trump. Be right back.
And now, how to beat the high cost of gas with President Trump.
Well, it's your favorite president, and gas prices are high, but we're going to bring them down very quickly, very, very quickly, so quickly. And I am doing my part. I have switched to a non-petroleum-based spray tan formula. It doesn't give me quite the same glow, but that is the sacrifice that I am willing to make for the country I love, to do my part to help bring down petroleum prices. Because we use a lot of spray tan, probably more than any human should ever use. Well, here's another money-saving tip for all Americans. There is a terrific website we found called GasBuddy.com, where you can search for the cheapest prices around you. Just be sure that when you're typing in the name of the website, you spell it very, very, very carefully and correctly. It is G-A-S Buddy. Very important that you type G-A-S Buddy, because sometimes you misspell things and Melania walks in and you're looking at a website with naked dudes who are very good friends with each other. And then you try to click off of it very quickly and you screw up and it plays a video instead. And then you're sleeping in the Lincoln bedroom, which, believe me when I tell you, is in fact haunted.
This has been How to Beat the High Cost of Gas with President Trump.
Oh, the left is currently just foaming at the mouth about the price of gas. Remember a few years ago when gas prices were high under Biden, when there was no war and the Strait of Hormuz was not blocked? That's probably what Biden would have called it. It's the Strait of Hormuz. Come on, man. You know the thing. Remember when gas prices were high then and the left said, well, you just need to get an electric car. We want gas prices to get really high so everyone will stop using the planet-killing gasoline that's killing the cute little baby seals because global warming. Now, not so much. Now the left is mad about gas prices. I bet some of you liberals that set your Tesla on fire last year are starting to regret that move. Oh, and all the money that we're spending on the Iran mission. Now, who on the left was complaining when, hold on a second. We're going to send $1.7 billion to Iran as a cash settlement. Remember the pallets of cash? Where were all the lefties griping about how that money could have been spent? When, now, hold on a second. That's their money. We're just giving it back to them. But here we go with we don't have money for this bit. But we have money for, $20 million to create Sesame Street in Iraq. And $59 million from FEMA to house migrants in luxury New York City hotels. And all kinds of lavish spending on COVID relief parties and school districts misusing billions in federal COVID funds. $86,000 for hotel rooms at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas for a teachers' conference. And another teachers group that rented out a Major League Baseball stadium with COVID funds. Got plenty of money for that, but suddenly we don't have the money. Maybe instead of instead of bombing mullahs, the U.S. funded a program called Tran Iran, where we help Iranian preteens pay for their sex change operations. Well, it's time for the Science is Settled. And I call it the Science is Settled because science is rarely settled. Sure, we have the law of gravity and Newton's law of motion and Murphy's law, of course, which says that, among other things, the odds that the toast will hit the ground jelly side down is directly proportional to the cost of the carpeting. And a personal favorite of mine, work expands to fill the time allotted to complete the job. So much of what is claimed to be factual is claimed to be science and settled. And in this particular case, things that the Bible claims are mocked as if they aren't supported by any evidence at all. Like Jesus, like the existence of the historical figure Jesus.
Oh, you believe in a magic man in the sky that created the universe in 7 days.
To which I always say, yeah, and you believe that I can wear a crystal around my neck that's a rock that can heal my irritable bowel syndrome.
This is a technique I really like to use, and I'm going to begin to sort of open up her chakras and siphon excess energy off of them. I'm going to take this wand, pull this out. There's a bunch of stuff stuck in here, and I'm going to detangle it.
Here's the story. It says Jesus of Nazareth was not simply a figure created by religion. He's also attested in non-Christian historical sources. Roman historian Tacitus and Jewish historian Flavius Josephus both refer to him, placing his actual execution under Pontius Pilate around AD 30. So historically, there was a guy named Jesus, and he was put to death by the Romans. Those things are historically founded and supported by non-biblical evidence. Now, what's, of course, still debated is whether or not he rose from the dead 3 days later. Understanding evidence from the ancient world requires a different standard than modern expectations. Historians do not rely on detailed biographies or direct eyewitnesses reporting in the way we might today. Instead, they examine surviving texts, consider the author's motives, and look for references made without religious intent. In this context, mentions of Jesus by non-Christian writers carry particular weight because they treat him as a real person rather than as an object of worship. So in a secular way, Josephus, born around AD 37-38 in Jerusalem, was a priest and historian who later wrote under Roman patronage. In his major work, Antiquity of the Jews, completed around AD 93, he documents events and figures familiar to his audience. His references to Jesus were not devotional, but rather matter of fact, reflecting on what was commonly known at the time, rather than attempting to persuade readers of any religious claims. One of the clearest references appears when Josephus describes the execution of James, who identifies as the brother of Jesus, who was called Christ. That's a quote. This brief mention serves to clarify which James he means, implying that Jesus was already a recognizable figure, and tying James to Jesus by saying he was his brother. And of course, we have a letter from James in the New Testament. Josephus provides additional historical context about the political situation, including the actions of the high priest Ananus and the intervention of Roman authorities, reinforcing the reliability of his account. Another passage, known as the Testimonium Flavianum, appears to describe Jesus more directly. Its wording has long been debated. Many scholars believe later Christian copyists may have modified the text, adding more overtly religious language. Even so, most agree that Josephus likely included a simpler original reference to Jesus as a teacher who was executed and whose followers persisted after his death. Taken together, these accounts suggest that Jesus existed is supported by independent historical evidence. Meanwhile, the media has started to pick up on this recent story about how Gen Z is turning to the Bible. And you can tell they're nervous about it because, Christian nationalism. I want to make a T-shirt. It's a Venn diagram. And on one circle says, loves Jesus. And the other circle says, loves the USA. And in the middle, it says Christian nationalism. I'm going to make that T-shirt. The media is really worried about Christian nationalism being on the rise because it just means that we're going to morph very quickly into a theocracy, like Iran, which they love and they want to keep going. And that theocracy, remember the theocracy that we morphed into back in the 80s and the 90s with the moral majority and how that there was all that fear-mongering back then? Some of us are old enough to remember that scare tactic of the left. Yes, America is going to become the Handmaid's Tale or Iran. If young Americans read the Bible. Oh, heaven forbid. So here come all the news stories trying to make sense of a disturbing trend. In The Independent in the UK, a columnist wrote a piece titled, "Is performative Bible reading the latest trend, or are Gen Z really turning to Christianity?" Many suggested that Gen Z's interest in Christianity is part of a broader search for meaning and uncertainty. Here's some comments that were a result of her column. Quote, "It's not surprising that in this decadent age of gross materialism, the young seek spiritual satisfaction. Unfortunately, organized religions can at best provide some commendable values and the comfort of numbers. They're all competing with each other to sell their own brand of God, as if one size fits all, and it doesn't." Another comment says, "The recent outbreak of Christian nationalism promoted by the far right, the mullahs on the far right, the Ayatollah Trump." You see, I'm mocking you, right? Just want to make that clear. With the encouragement and doubtless funding of U.S. conservative evangelists pushing their own agenda on topics like abortion, other faiths, and LGBT people, it's not going to win any sincere converts. Another comment says, "You don't have to have a strong religious faith to read the Bible. It's considered a work of literature in its own right, especially the King James Version. Regarding atheism versus devotion, I've long felt these are two sides of the same coin. Dawkins' atheism comes across as fundamental as the most pious religious believer." And finally, one more comment here. "We are a social species who seek each other out on many levels, and our world is becoming isolationist on a personal level and on a country level. Maybe religion can serve a purpose to bind the social fabric back together again. As an atheist, I won't hold my breath, as religion has been used as a means of control and division since time began and has not served us well. Iran. I just hope that they find what they're looking for. Well, the robot revolution is coming. Oh, just any day now, but it seems to be suffering setbacks. Like this one. This ought to buy some of you blue-collar workers a little more time. A video on social media shows a dancing robot at a hot pot restaurant in San Jose, California, knocking over tableware, smashing plates. Staffers at the restaurant forced to intervene. One employee can be seen holding the robot by the scruff of its neck while navigating her phone, trying desperately to get the app up so she can shut it down. In the end, it took 3 workers to restrain the robot, who were all forced to duck periodically to avoid being smacked by its waving, sauce-covered hands. It's the funniest thing I've seen all day. Some comments say, why isn't there a big red power off button on its back? You shouldn't have to reach for an app to do that. Everything is back to normal, and the robot is standing sentry near the front door, ready to meet the next group of diners who want a little entertainment. According to the staff, the robot is programmed only to dance, say hi, and do hand movements like making a heart shape, or high-fiving, or shaking hands. The robot does not serve food. The corporate offices of the company have yet to issue a statement clarifying the incident. But what is that dance it's doing? Why don't they ever teach robots to do the robot? Seems like that would be a natural choice. One commenter says, This is how the Terminator timeline actually begins, not with a bang, but with a boogie. By the way, the company was careful to point out that the robot did not go berserk on its own. It was a human error, which is exactly what you would say if you were trying to cover up for the robot takeover of the world. Buying time for Skynet to hone its dance moves so it can mesmerize you before it kills you. Look at me dancing. Look at me. Eyes up here. Look at me, I'm doing the Running Man. Get it? The Running Man, it was Schwarzenegger. Never mind. Oh, it's springtime, and that means flowers are blooming, and people just can't help themselves. They want to be naked outside. In El Cerrito, California, cops got a call about a naked man frolicking in a park. And when they got to the scene, they found 33-year-old John Sheehan lying on a tree stump next to a nature path. Cops went to arrest the naked man and for some reason decided to ask him if he had a weapon on him. Well, that's a stupid question. He's naked. I mean, where could he possibly hide it? Oh. Yes, he did. He did have a concealed weapon on him. No. He did, in fact, have a weapon concealed on his person. A small metal file wrapped in electrical tape, concealed. Police called in firefighters. Oh, sure, make the firefighters do it. Cops checked him out. Sure enough, he was just paroled from prison. Where do you think he learned that little trick? And he's going back to prison now, and he'll have plenty more time to play hide the screwdriver. Congratulations, John Sheehan. You are a very special naked doofus of the week. And let's wrap up the show with some good news. Let's make a hard pivot to something less disturbing. In my family, work ethic is everything. My grandfather worked until he passed away at the age of 82. He was a firefighter, retired in his 50s, and all of his fellow firefighters went and sat in their recliners, and they were all gone within 5 years, 10 years. But my grandfather went right back to work as a mall security guard and lived to be 82 and worked up until about 6 months before he passed. Same with my dad. My dad worked until about 6 months before he passed away at the age of 91. When he was 90, my father was still getting up, sometimes at like 5 o'clock in the morning, to go pull a 10, 12-hour shift, 5 days a week. Doctor told him to keep going, so he did. Well, here's a feel-good story about another man who's working at an advanced age. A woman posted a short viral video on social media simply showing 78-year-old DoorDash driver Richard Pulley delivering food with his usual warm smile. Even though he's well into his retirement years, he's still dedicated and keeps working to support himself and his wife. Well, the video exploded in views, and thousands of people watched it and shared it and made Richard famous and left all kinds of great comments about his work ethic and praising him for being an example to everybody, showing the value of hard work, looking right at you, Gen Z. Put your phone down and get back to work. Richard says he has no plans to fully retire. He loves being a DoorDash driver. He loves his job. He loves the people he meets and the little interactions that brighten up his day and brighten someone else's day. He's going to keep dashing part-time because it brings him joy. It's one of those beautiful reminders that a small act of noticing and sharing kindness can spark a massive wave of appreciation from complete strangers. Well, that's the show. Oh, wait a minute. You mean the story's not over? There's more? You mean I didn't tell the whole story and I left out some details? Like the media does all the time? I know, I can't help myself. Let's see if adding further details will completely change how you view this story and the world in general. Thousands of strangers who saw it were touched by his story and work ethic, and they started donating to a GoFundMe link that the woman shared. In a very short period of time, the fundraiser blew past expectations and reached over $1 million. Richard was completely floored when he found out. He said the money means he and his wife can now live more comfortably without the constant pressure of daily deliveries. And then let me pick it back up from earlier. He still has no plans to fully retire. He loves the job, he loves the people he meets, and the little interactions that brighten someone's day. He's going to keep dashing part-time because it brings him joy. Even though he now has $1 million in the bank. It's one of those beautiful reminders that one small act of noticing and sharing kindness can spark a massive wave of appreciation from complete strangers. And that's the show. Until next time, may God bless you with health, joy, and wisdom.